Ladies, gentlemen, everything in between. Welcome back to another episode of Midnight Oil Motorsports. My name's Ian and thanks for stopping by. Whether you're a first-time viewer or a long-time viewer, I appreciate your continued support. Today, we're working on my wonderful 1991 Mazda Miata I've poured a whole bunch of work into over the past winter and couple of years. Previous videos, we've been looking at keeping the engine coolant cool. Now today, we're looking at keeping the engine oil cool. By that, we're gonna be installing an engine oil cooler as well as a sensor and gauge to be able to monitor the entire system, that being temperature and pressure. Let's get right into it. So I'm gonna have to apologize here for some of the creaks and cracks in the background. It's a very windy day. But first thing we got here, maybe not first thing, I don't know how I'm gonna do this, but we've got a Innovate sensor here. And gauge. What do we got? What do we got? What do we got? Well, temperature sensor. And pressure sensor. Now what's this for? Well, so that we can monitor not only the pressure, but also the temperature of the oil. So it's gonna make it very nice to be able to just look at one gauge here at a glance and be able to see the temperature as well as the pressure of the oil. Now I really like this design because I don't have to run two gauges just to have temperature and pressure. They're both very important because the hotter oil gets, the more, or I guess the less, more viscous, less viscous. It gets watered down is what I'm trying to say. It runs better when it's hot. If it gets too hot, we lose oil pressure. So these things go in tandem together and it's nice to know both. So be very nice. Comes with a programming cable too. Right, took it up to a laptop and be able to program it. Super, super nice. They have a whole range of other sensors. I'm not really the biggest fan of Innovate. I've had a couple issues with their sensors in the past, but I know through not only experience, but also talking to other people that the combination sensors, whether it's for temperature or for oil or coolant, they work just fine. So very excited about this. So unfortunately, it kind of looks like my oil cooler didn't show up in the mail yet, but this did. What this is actually just a duct that deletes the AC condenser. Condenser? I don't know if that's what you want to call it, but the evaporator core inside the dash. And, well, mine was still in there. It's heavy compared to this. I mean, that thing's got to be at least 10 pounds. So, we got this tube to go into place, and with these two pieces, I can actually put the interior back together. So, let me route these wires. I can put the interior back together. It'll be great. So, I'm sure what you're wondering is, Ian, how the heck do you know where to route these wires to? You don't have anything to route them to yet. You need the oil cooler sandwich plate to do all that stuff, right? Well, I know where the oil sandwich plate's gonna go. Why not have everything ready so that when I do everything, it's all set up, right? So it's gonna be really easy to just route these wires and go and follow the original wiring harness here to go under here, right? Pretty simple. So before we hop into the interior here, just want to take a moment to appreciate springtime in Chicagoland. Yesterday, 65 degrees, slight overcast, but it's actually really nice outside. Today, well, that's right, 30 degrees and snowing. It's cold, but we power on. Let's get it. Okay, so here's what we got. So we got our eyeball vent, right? Took off the ring by pushing in these tabs, right? Take your eyeball vent out. accurate. Take our gauge, right? Take the little bracket off the back because we don't need that. Okay. Now let's try to see how this fits inside this little trim ring here. Okay. So this is slimmer than an AEM gauge, right? So what I'm gonna do here, it's really not that much. So you're gonna make a nice spacer for it. So how nice does a spacer have to be? Well, it needs to take and hold the gauge in there pretty nicely. It's gotta have some nice grip. And how do we have nice grip on a budget here? Well, with grip tape, except I don't even have grip tape. So we're using electrical tape, but not just any electrical tape, some 2-inch wide electrical tape. Maybe 1.5 inches, I don't know. We're just gonna take that. It's nice and thick. Maybe wrap it around. Okay, so we actually only did about a little less than 1 loop around here for the tape. Get all our wires in there. From the back. We're gonna line up like one of these tabs perfectly 90 degrees with here, right? We'd see no longer loose. Well, I can rotate it if need be. We'll call it that. Okay, great. Worst comes to worst, I add just a little bit more tape and we see what happens. But I'd rather it be a little loose than too tight here. So we want to get one of our tabs, right, that we lined up 90 degrees with the tab here, which is the locking piece for here, right, so that it all goes together all nice. Kind of get everything where we want it, part of the way in there, and then get it to snap. There we go. Okay, so we got the sensor, gauge in here, okay? Take this light off. We got our connections here, right? So per the instructions, right? We have our red, which goes to a keyed 12-volt source. We have our black, that goes to a ground, right? We have our white, and let me double check this one here. But I believe the white goes to a headlight power, so that when the gauge turns on, or when the headlights turn on, this gauge dims. I'm not going to hook that up right now because I don't really drive this car at night anyways, so it doesn't really matter. So it's fine. And also, none of the other gauges dim, so it doesn't really make any sense. We have our 2 connectors here, right? We have a 2-pin connector, which goes to our temperature sensor, and we have our 3-pin connector, which goes to our pressure sensor, right? So we can plug these in today. We can wire the power and ground in today. And what's gonna be cool is once that's done, the gauge will actually turn on and should just read temperature, which is pretty cool. So I'm sure as much as you guys wanna see me go upside down, left, right, underneath the dash, going through here, put my arms through the dash, and saying some choice words that aren't allowed on the radio, well, I skipped through it. And you guys can see this. See that gauge? It's off. The key's off. If we take the key, spin it on, ta-da! We see I have 0 oil pressure because the engine's not running, and the oil is cold because the engine's not running. But it all works, which is great. We just got the sensors plugged in. I can, like I said, program it, and I will. Just gotta get my laptop out here. So I guess I can finally throw this interior back together. I'm very excited to see it finally together. So, got everything together. Let's take a quick look. Everything needs a good vacuum, wipe down, whatever, but everything is back together here. Glove box, all of that. Still need to put like the sill plates and stuff on down there, as you can see. New door cards. Man, does this look fantastic. So, just gotta wait for the oil cooler to come in, and then all the gauges will work. Very cool. So, I guess stay tuned.
1 week later.
Okay, so a little story as I unbox this here. When I had ordered this, I'd ordered it from Track Dog Racing. It is their branded kit, as I'll probably put in the title. And I got a shipping notification that it had shipped. I never got anything else from it. Long story short, for some reason, it didn't ship out, okay? I emailed their customer support. They emailed me back an hour later. And then the next day, they had next day aired it. So this came in very, very quickly. And I mean, albeit the shipping mistakes do happen, right? Nobody's perfect. Companies make mistakes. It is what it is. The fact that they next day aired this without me even asking is great. Fantastic customer service. I really, really appreciate companies like that. I will be doing more business with them because they're fantastic. Anyways, as I just said, this is their kit, right? Wow, they even include an oil filter. Very cool. Obviously, Miata oil filter part number. They give you a hose here, right? They give you the most important part here, which is, this is the part that actually, the sandwich plate is what they call it, okay? It's got 2 NPT ports on each side to be able to run the 2 sensors I want to run, okay? We've got some threaded adapters that are for the oil cooler. We've got all the hardware we need. I believe this is ducting to get it ducted into the front bumper, which is super, super cool. Actually, not too sure what's in this box. What do we have here? Oh, that's interesting. I have their branded. Wow, look at that. That is, that's really nice, actually. Their branded sandwich plate, too. I wonder why I got the glow shift one, too. Because you're not stacking these. There's no way. Oh, we'll look into that. Okay, so per the instructions, we got our sandwich plate in the vise with our microfiber. We need to take each and every port and use thread locker and all the threads. They seal using an O-ring, but in order to keep them from backing out, you want to use some thread locker here. So make sure it gets all on your threads, all the way around. A little bit more. Thread them in there. Okay, now obviously before your thread locker dries, you're gonna want to take all these and tighten them down. Now per the instructions, it says to use a 1-inch socket. This is actually a 24-inch socket. So just tighten them. Okay, we're nice and snug. See the thread lockers come out a little bit on the sides, probably because I put a little bit too much. That's okay. So now the gauge I'm putting in this uses 2 sensors. There is a temperature sensor and there is a pressure sensor. Both of these are gonna go right in here, okay? And both of them, per the instructions of the sensor, require thread sealant. Let me go grab that. So you guys know how much I love thread sealant, because as soon as you open up the bottle, it goes everywhere. Actually, That might be the best bead of thread seal I've ever done in my life. So these are NPTs, so they gotta be tight, but you really don't gotta like crank them down. So you really don't wanna strip those threads, because those threads are really the sealing surface, but they require, or the instructions say to put thread sealant on there. So I am going to put thread sealant on there. So this sensor right here is a little strange. So you're supposed to use something like this. This is a specialty socket. It's got rounded corners, okay? This is actually for a GMLS style pressure sensor. It goes on there really good, very snug, doesn't even move. You can use something like I believe this is a 27, and it goes on there. It's a little bit loose, but it'll get the job done. But since I have the correct socket, I'm gonna use it. Okay, got my sensors in there, everything Loctited down, and thread sealant down. Don't forget that. We're all set here. So that's ready to go in the car. Next step is the oil cooler. So the first step here on the cooler is to take the fittings, put them at a 45 degree, apply thread sealant to them, and send them home. Now it also says that that step may already be done for you, and it is. So mine's good. So the second step on there is to take the supplied bracket here, which is right here. Very nice homemade bracket, and it should just slide right on. And that it does. Let's take some bolts that are supplied, which is great, and button this up. There we go. Oil cooler on the bracket. Nice and snug down. Very nice. Okay, so we're underneath the car now. We can see just back there, we've got our oil filter, but there's something in the way. This is the bracket that goes from the bottom of the motor of the block to the top of the intake manifold. We need to take this off. Now this isn't part of the instructions, but in order to make more room, we're gonna need to get this off because it is obviously in the way here. Okay, you can see up there is our oil filter. Let's get that guy out. Okay, so here's where the magic starts to happen here. So I'm gonna be taking a little bit of oil that came out of this oil filter because it's clean. I do my oil changes very, very frequently. The engine oil always comes out pretty clean when I do it, so, but it's always good housekeeping. So, per the instructions, we take and put our sandwich plate here facing downwards. Okay. Figure out where this goes. Is it really supposed to be facing downward? So I'm sitting here looking at the instructions going, why isn't this all working? It goes on there really nice. Well, if you flip all the way to the back, they add this little exert about 1.6 engines. So if you have a 1.8 of any kind, you don't got to do this. But you use this glow shift adapter that I didn't know it was for as a spacer. When OEM NBs, they have a little oil cooler jobber there. On the 1.6s, we don't have that. So we got to use that glow shift thing. It's in the car because I didn't want to move the camera because you were kind of shoved down in there. But, yep. Okay, so after that debacle, and finding out that I need to use this glow shift adapter as just a spacer because Track Dog Racing is shaming the size of my car's current port oil filter housing. This socket is a 27, and it is a little loosey-goosey on there. Not even gonna lie to you. I think it really is like a 26 or something. Yeah, I don't like that, but it's what I got, so it's what I'm gonna use. If only I had a ratchet. Okay, oh, let's get back down there. My wife says I'm getting old. I'm starting to think she's right. Anyways, let's get this on here. And get it torqued down. Okay, so now that we got that on there, now we're just gonna take what I was trying to do before. Slide our other guy. Whoops, the daisies. Right on here, real careful like. See, it sits on there nice and flush now. Take my little spacer jobber. Okay, got that on there. All right. Take our other size socket, which is 1 inch, because that is actually a 1 inch. Not like the other thing that said it was 1 inch and definitely was not 1 inch. We're just gonna stick it on there. And do the same thing. There's no torque spec per se for this, but judging by the other one, I'm just gonna say it's pretty similar. Okay, so we're in the wheel well here, trying to fit where this cooler goes, and I'm kind of thinking it unfortunately is not gonna work with what we got. Now we're supposed to use this hole to mount it, right? And we can see here, it's my intercooler piping. I can't get this flush. This mount also wants to be able to use the bumper, and my bumper is quick release, so unfortunately that's not going to work. And the other thing is that area right here, I know my wheels, they're massive. It gets kind of close to the intercooler piping. So, excuse me, I yawned. It happens. I don't think I'll be able to get this to fit here. And it's unfortunate because the whole kit obviously revolves around that, and I'm gonna have to change that. So we have a couple options here, and let me talk about it. All right, so just want to go out on a limb here and say Track Dog Racing did not make a bad product. The reason why this product is not working is because of me, right? I've got a lot done with this car, and there's a lot. There's a lot. This doesn't work because my wheel and tire fitment isn't normal. I've got a wide body car, that's not normal. Got a turbo car, slightly less normal. So with all those factors being in there, it's my own fault, obviously. So what can we do? We can do thing the first. Buy a cooler that's smaller and have it go up in here and further forward so that my wheel definitely won't hit it, right? Or we take the cooler that we've got and mount it somewhere in here off the impact bar and have it poking out a little bit on the bottom. Now, both solutions get good airflow, right? The solution underneath the wheel would get better airflow, more consistent airflow, and it'd be across the whole cooler, while the other one in front would just be on the bottom because I don't want to block the entirety of the intercooler or the radiator, okay? So I just get to sit here and figure out what the actual heck I want to do. So the question is how I'm going to make this work. Well, I tried using the OEM, not OEM, the brackets that came with this thing, right? That's supposed to help you mount all the ducting and stuff. I can't get them to work, so I'm gonna have to make something. Now I could either make it out of something like 16 gauge steel, which would be nice and easy to work with, or I got something like this. It's actually 1/4 inch steel. Way overkill. So as I was ruthlessly beating that 1/4 inch steel, because again, it's way too much, I heated it up, you know, whatever. Looked over at the stock bracket, the Track Dog Racing bracket, and thought, man, this would work really good if it lined up, and well, it does. The 2 holes where the hood prop used to go actually line up very nicely with exactly where I want it to mount. So I'm gonna chop this, actually make sure it's level. Then I'm gonna chop it. Mark these holes, do some drilling, and really hope I don't miss, because obviously I only got 1 shot at this, so yeah. Okay, well, let me scooch you up a little bit here. We got these cleaned up a little bit. It's a little difficult to get started. There's one. And possibly, it looks close. Oh my Lanta. That was the world's best eyeball. Not really. I'm not that good at it, but when I do good, it makes me happy to see it. Heck yeah. Was that the right way to do it? No, but we did it. And that's how we did it. And you saw it live. Kinda. Okay, so I fiddled around with this for way too long. I'm not gonna lie. Ended up being able to rotate these. I hope the sealant in there is still sealed, fingers crossed. Got this going. Got a little bit poking out, we're all good. Had to move the horn over, that's fine. But the problem is right now, let's look down here, we wiggle around a lot. So that's because, honestly, if you look at this sheet metal here, see how much is bending? That's crazy. So I need to make another bracket going from here to here, and here to here. And these are normally held in by just like push rivets, but I elected to use 10mm screws because I like them better. So that's fine. I'll do that, but I'll do that in my own time. Right now, I just want to get these hoses made. Let's do that. Okay, so this kit comes with push lock hoses. I'm really not the biggest fan of these, but it's what it comes with. I'd rather make AN, but I do not have any -10 AN lying around. So this is how I normally do it. I've had to do it a couple times before, notoriously, quite difficult, but let's see if I can do it first try on camera. So you got your hose, right? And you got your fitting, okay? I like to put a hose clamp just as extra insurance on there, okay? Now you could really try to get this on here just like this, and you'll get close, but you gotta get it all the way on here, all right? You gotta wait, make sure this yellow part is pressed all the way up against the hose and the fitting, okay? Whoops-a-daisies. So, here's what we do. We take something like lubricant, right? I like red and tacky. Take the fitting. Stick it on in there. Okay, get it nice and greased up. So then when you take your hose, you just kind of get it started, get it on here, press down as hard as you can. Ugh. Okay, How'd I do? We're almost there. So you know you're all the way on, but you just barely spin this, right? I like to double check and make sure here that I'm all the way on. And now I'm definitely all the way on. Can't spin this any longer, okay? Then that hose clamp I put on there, which you don't need with push lock fittings, just making sure you're aware here, but you just take it. Oh, that's nice. You just take it, tighten her down, and you're good. This is just insurance for me, honestly. I like to do it. So the truth be told, I have no idea if we're even gonna have enough hose here. We're gonna do our darndest. So I'm feeding it right down in there, going through the wheel well, up by the sway bar. And because I don't have a remote mount oil filter or anything, it really doesn't matter what way I do this. There we go. There we go. Can I twist this now? Yes, I can. All right. I am unsure if we'll have enough hose. Maybe just barely, but we'll see here. Okay, so you just want to give it a little bit extra length here. What I like to do is take the fitting, take the entire length of the threads on the fitting, and then you take your cutters, which I left all the way over here. Good job. Make sure you cut as straight as you can, because you're gonna need that for your, oh my Lord. You're gonna need that for your other push lock fitting. Of course, as soon as I turn off the camera, I just had to readjust it, but you can see how thick this hose is. I mean, that's ridiculous. Do the same thing as before. Take our push lock fitting, get all nice and greased up. The more you grease it, yeah, I wouldn't say necessarily the better it is, but the more you grease it on the outside, you're gonna have a nice. You're gonna have a better time. You have a great time too picking up junk and picking it out of your push lock fitting. Oh, nice. I like to get started by hand. And then you can just kind of take it and press it up against whatever's available. Like the impact bar, for example. Oh. There you go. Guess who forgot a hose clamp? Me. Guess it's not getting one. That's fine. But you get the gist, right? Right. Okay, we got our lines tightened up here. Our brackets tightened up. And then we have our lines tightened down there, right by the sandwich plate. So the only thing left to do is double check the torque on that sandwich plate, and then put on a filter. Then we can see if there's any leaks. There probably will be, but we get to see. How fun. Okay, so we're back. It's the next day, and we're filling up on coffee, a breakfast burrito, and also the sheer willpower and determination to get this car running and driving. Well, maybe not driving, just idling, because we gotta get it idling to get up to temperature, make sure we got no leaks, and everything else. I apologize, it's a little bit rainy. You might hear some background noise with the rain, but we'll just see what happens there. With the new microphone, I have no idea what's going on with audio, but we're trying, so let's get right into it. Okay, first things first here, gotta fill up the cooling system with some water because I still haven't done that yet. Now, is this the right funnel for the job here? No, but it's a funnel nonetheless. We're also using the finest Signature Select distilled water. Okay, so next thing we're gonna do here is we're gonna grab a rag. We're actually gonna check this oil just to make sure, one, there's oil in it. Two, oil's in decent shape, nice and golden. I did a lot of oil changes on this car when I was racing it, but obviously with it sitting, haven't really done any. So nice and golden, it's got plenty of fluid, but obviously it's gonna go down when we fill up the filter and the lines. So that'll be nice. Next thing is gasoline. So here's my 2 minutes of complaining here. Why do we gotta use these tops? I wish I had those fancy dancy VP Racing gas cans, but I don't because I'm cheap. And I've already got the normal style ones. So for $2, you get yourself a screwdriver, you get it in there. You get one of these bad boys, the Easy Pours, that you can't buy at anywhere because, well, because you're not supposed to have them. And then you just kind of pour it in. We're gonna crank this over since it's been a long time since this thing has had, you know, oil running through it and everything. We're just gonna sit and crank it with the coil unplugged, injectors off, and just see if we get any oil pressure here. Ready? We got a pound or two. Don't see anything on here yet though, so I'm gonna give the starter a break and we're gonna try again. All right, you can see now on the mechanical gauge, we just got a little bit of oil pressure. So about 28 PSI, which is great. That means we've got some pressure going through the block. We got 7 on that gauge because obviously it's a little, they're in 2 different parts of the system, right? So let me go plug in that coil and see what happens. So plug the coil back in and back. Just an initial check here for leaks. Don't see anything yet. What I'm gonna do here, in order to help me check for leaks, that's why I always keep just a bunch of cardboard on tap here. Take some cardboard, throw under where you've been working, and even if your garage floor's a little bit dirty like mine, you'll be able to see exactly where oil's leaking. Okay, so let's see if this car roars to life for the first time in probably about 2 years. Oh, that was easy. Let's let it idle. Okay, so I apologize for the noise. It's probably very loud in here. But while it's running, right? Look down here for leaks. Nothing yet. We're just gonna let it go. Ooh, need more water. So I know obviously we're doing a couple things here at once. Just topped off the water from the initial suck down, right? I got the fans off for right now. Still no leaks yet, very good. And once the thermostat reaches 180 degrees, we should see this suck down and I can hopefully add some more water. Okay, we can see we're about 162 degrees. So the thermostat should be opening up a little bit. And that is the case. That's why we're bubbling a little bit. That is A-okay. So this car has always ran a little bit funky. The idle walks a little bit, but I gotta iron out those issues as time goes on. But right now, it's running. It's idling. Pretty decently, actually. A little smoky, but it is what it is. All right, so this is it. This is my track car. All the major things are finally done. Sure, is it missing a couple things like the wheels and tires that I have in storage right now, the mirrors, some belt moldings, wipers, sure, yeah. But honestly, waiting to do all that stuff until after we buff it. So it's done. It's great. And honestly, I cannot thank you guys enough. Honestly, coming out in the garage some weekends would have been kind of a bear, but the drive to be able to just go out there, make a video, burn that midnight oil, and just do what I got to do was fueled by you guys. It's crazy just how much the YouTube thing helped me just hop on this project and go in full force. So I appreciate you guys, and honestly, it's been huge. So thank you. So what's next? Well, like I said, I'm gonna be buffing it with my buddies, and if you want to see that process, let me know. Throw it down in the comments or something. If you like the build, then just go check out the other videos. I've got everything from replacing the entire rocker and quarter panel to painting it to fitting big wheels and tires to all the other jazz. So just go ahead and watch one of those other videos, right? But I think it's finally time for me to just wrap up this build. Well, it's at a good stopping point anyways. No build's ever finished, right? Things are gonna break when I start using it, but we're at a good stopping point, and I cannot be happier. So let's just wrap up this video. How about that? So I guess with all that being said, if you like the video, give it a like. If you really like the video, consider subscribing. Really, any interaction that you have with me helps me stay motivated to work on not just this car, but any of them. So just thank you from the bottom of my heart. I really mean that. Get out there, work on your car, because it's not going to work unless you work on it. Whether it's a weekday, weekend, get out there, burn that midnight oil, and whether it's a night, morning, evening, or anything in between, just make sure you make it great. Take it easy, everyone.